Come on in and join us. I don't bite or bark, I promise. Come on in. I'm going to talk about something really cool. You're going to hear something really cool if you come in. I can really be a fun person. I'm not going to talk about anything scary, I promise.
You do readings?
I do, but I'm not doing that during this time period. Lorna Reynolds will be doing that at 3 o'clock. I'm going to talk about something that's actually very cool. Okay. I want to welcome you all for coming today, and thank you. I drew you guys all in. He helped me. We did this, mental telepathy thing to get you here. No. But thank you for spending this actually chilly kind of day, right? Is it chilly out there? I haven't been out there. Is it raining again? Like this, I said, thank God for curly hair, right? Because, we got dumped on this morning when we came in. Come on in. Don't stand out there. You can come in. Share in the experience. Share the love.
I'm listening. I'm just reading people to try to bring them in.
Okay. It's really interesting. My name is Renee Marie. I'm a psychic medium. I'm actually from the Freeville area, Ithaca area. That's where I live now. But I'm originally from the Adirondacks, just north of Utica. I was born and raised there. I was born and raised a psychic medium. And I have a lot of energy. I do a lot of, before I became what they call a Reiki Master, before I went to school for it, I used a lot of my energy to be able to help people to heal themselves, to overcome certain diseases or anxiety, anything like that, just through my energy and directing energy. So I said, well, I guess I have to get a title for people to take it seriously, go to school for what I already knew how to do. And as time went on, as I stepped out of the closet in a society that really didn't take well to, psychic mediums. A lot of times they thought that we were witches or, we were doing magic or we were doing the work of the devil. All these years I had kept it in, except for my family knew. And my great aunt, who I was born on her birthday, actually she was a psychic medium too. And so she kind of took me under her wing as I was growing up to be able to build my confidence in myself and not to give up what abilities I have. And I don't call them gifts, and I'll tell you why. Because we are all capable of doing this. We are all born with these abilities, and as we get older through society, to our families, whether we keep them or not is depending on our upbringing. So my family embraced it, but said, don't pull it out in public because people are going to think you're crazy or insane. And so I didn't. Every now and then I would let little things slip out and people would be like, how'd you know that? I'm like, I don't know. And I'd walk away. Started paranormal investigating as a teenager. Once I got my license, I was like, woohoo, yeah, let's go in the Adirondacks. And just had an absolute fabulous time. Freaked my friends out and everything, but they still never knew. They wondered, but they never asked. And it wasn't until probably maybe 7 or 8 years ago that I came out publicly and said that I was. This is who I am. I'm tired of living behind this mask. I love what I do. I love being able to help people. That's why I'm here, so I'm going to do it. I thought my mother was going to have a stroke right then and there. Oh my God, I can't believe you did that. But now she embraces it. She promotes it. But I always had this question. Now, our souls are connected by what we call in the etheric cord, a silver cord. Testing. Much better, huh?
Yes.
Thank you. So our souls can come and go out of our body, and we call it a projection when we cross the veil, when we go what we call to the other side, our souls. It's called an astral projection when we go into the astral plane. When we stay in the physical plane, I call it a soul projection. It's the easiest way for me, and I can control it. I can do it consciously and unconsciously. A lot of times, anybody who's around the world, could be anywhere around the world, if they're thinking about me, if they're having a hard time, and they feel that I'm going to bring them comfort, before I know it, I could be in France, I could be in England, I could be whatever. And when you're consciously aware and you see this, because you can see, okay, kind of almost like what they call remote viewing, but when you're doing a soul projection, and when they talk about the pond, like the Atlantic Ocean being the pond, and you think of a pond as being small, not the ocean, right? When you can see that, literally you're like, it looks like a pond. So spirits can, and souls, it's nothing, it's like split seconds, or everything is so fast on the other side. So I had this theory, I had this question. If spirits can communicate with us, okay, through like spirit boxes, SB7s, SB11s, different apparatus, if they can communicate with us and we can hear them, well, they're a soul. So why can't we, as living human beings, consciously or even subconsciously project our soul out in the physical plane and communicate with other people hundreds of thousands of miles away sometimes? And so I got questioning it, and I found a couple of very reputable teams from around the world, and I threw this at them and said, what do you think? And part of this here is, I'm going to tell you why. It's going to save lives, okay? Because I am proving that we can literally, whether it be consciously or unconsciously, and a lot of times, sometimes it's unconsciously for me, teams will pick me up, but even consciously, I can project my soul out and communicate over these different apparatus. And what do I mean by it's going to save lives? Well, I need to prove this through the world of the paranormal, that this is possible, that we can do this as human beings without using the telephone, without using Skype, without using any form of electronic where we speak into, where it's going to be relayed over any form of apparatus or equipment that is used in the paranormal. And the reason that it's going to save lives is because eventually, when I can prove this and have more solid, sustainable evidence that this is going to help with missing children, missing persons cases of those who are like just abducted and out, because we're going to teach law enforcement how to properly call in the soul of that person to get them to communicate, and being able to give actual descriptions of where they are, what vehicle they're in, who it is that took them. And it's going to work, because I'm determined to prove that this is going to work, because I can do this. So that was my question, and it's really a hypothesis that is coming into play, and I call it transcendent vibrational communication. And I came up with a term with a team down in Memphis that I work with very closely. And when they go on different investigations, we will set up to do the testing after the initial investigation is done. And sometimes I come over their apparatus, their SB7, during the investigation. We'll be like, oh, there's Renee. You know, she's saying hi to us, and there's no mistaking my voice, no mistaking my voice. But then they will set up for the experiment, the actual research part after, and we'll do it for about an hour and see what we can get for EVPs. So what do we do when we do this? We do my body temperature, because when you do a soul projection or an astral projection, your body temperature is going to drop. Okay, so we do exact times, the weather conditions. Is there a delay in transmission, which I can tell you, depending on the severity or the weather conditions, that there's up to a up to a 6-minute delay at times, depending on weather conditions or the severity of me putting my voice through my soul, actually speaking, can be up to 6 minutes long. We haven't gotten it beyond that, but we've gotten it to where it's been split second too. So you're going to be able to hear this. Excuse me. So it's really kind of cool. It's called TVC, or Transcendent Vibrational Communication. We're all energy. Energy travels. Energy feeds off of each other. We can exchange energy with other people. But we coined it the name Transcendent Vibrational Communication because it's transcendent. It transcends over miles. Vibrational energy, sound is a vibration, and communication is actual communication that comes over the SB7 or whatever apparatus that is being used to pick up EVPs or disembodied voices, which makes it actually, this kind of ups the ante in the ITC community, which I think is really cool. So I have my computer here and I have the website up, and I want you all to be able to just hear. I mean, you're hearing me talk right now. You're hearing my voice. I do have a little bit of a cold, so I'm sorry. But I don't know if any of you are familiar with any of the paranormal equipment, but like this here is what they call an SB7 or a Spirit Box 7. And it basically runs through like a bunch of different channels of like radio, right? It picks up transmission. Don't tell me my battery's not. Why wouldn't it be? And the battery's done. They weren't last night. Anyway, you can set the speed and everything else, and a spirit can communicate words, sometimes phrases, through these, and it'll be picked up, and you set it down, and you have like a digital recorder nearby, and it'll pick up the different sounds and stuff. And it sounds like a really loud, but then when the words come through, when they're authentic, it'll come through. So what you're going to hear is actually coming through. When you hear my voice, it's coming through the SB7. And the first time that I did this, it was actually like, the first time that I tried it was actually with a team called Pain Paranormal out of Kokomo, Indiana. Pennsylvania, PA, IN, Indiana, Pain Paranormal. And they went to a group home. They got an emergency call for a group home where the people were disabled. It was a state home. And one woman was like being channeled, and she was threatening to kill people, and she's saying, you know, he's telling me to do it and everything else. So I did a soul projection in, confronted, and you would hear things from them. You know, they said, Renee's coming, and one of them said she's coming long distance, you know, so they're very aware that I was coming in and we were going to take care of this issue. And like I said, I'm here in New York State, down near Ithaca, and this is actually, they're in Kokomo, Indiana. So there's several hundred miles distance in between. So the spirits are responding and saying, one said she's here, and then you'll hear me coming through. Sometimes I can be like really klutzy, just like I am in the physical world. That DNA in our soul, in everyone's spirit, transfers into the physical world. I'm a professional groundhugger, I kid you not. But I can be klutzy too with my soul projection sometimes if I'm going in, because I can see but not always very clear, you know, all the time when I do the remote viewing or travel in. But this is what I'm going to do here. So I want you to be able to hear this. This was in Kokomo. And this is one of my klutzy phases. And you'll hear me come in. I was not on the radio, I was not on Skype, I was not on anything. Nothing was up to my face to transmit my voice. This was actually going, my soul voice, my soul communication. And I'll play it a couple of times for you, and you'll hear them. And I'm saying, pardon me. I literally ran into someone.
That sounded like pardon me. That sounded like pardon me.
And that's what the SB7 sounds like when nobody's talking. It sounds just like that.
That sounded like pardon me. That sounded like pardon me.
So I literally did. They were sitting in a bedroom after I had cleared out the spirit, and I literally came in, and when I came in, they said it was like a whirlwind, and all of the batteries died in all of the cameras, and I literally bumped into the head of the paranormal team. Like, I bumped into his head. He like felt it. He got like dizzy at first. And then immediately it was like, pardon me, came over, and that was definitely my voice. So it was pretty interesting. They kind of laughed about that. But there were like other things, like I said, muse and a couple of other things. Like I was amused, but the word muse, it came over as muse. Now this other one here is, these next couple of ones are down in Memphis, Tennessee. This was a case where they had, there was actually a portal that was opened, and at the time it was really negative energy, and I was faced with one of those moral situations. Here they had, the family was still down there in the house during the investigation, because they wanted to hear their loved ones coming over the SB7 and whatever apparatus that they had. But they didn't, they felt like posturing. They were posturing. The team started posturing. Things didn't feel good. I saw this dark shadow over one of the teammates' shoulders right there. I saw the portal open, and it's what we called, he was the gatekeeper. And I had vowed that I would never touch anything negative, and I don't. But at this point, it was one of those things. Do I say to them, you need to get out of there and not go back? Or do I take care of it and then pray that nothing happens to me, and then get somebody who can deal with the darker side to help me to let them know I'm not going to do it again, because I didn't want anything to happen to me. And at that point, because one of the things we try not to do is put fear into people's minds within paranormal, because there's a lot of fear with people who really don't understand or don't know, and the family's been through enough already. So I wanted to make sure that they didn't have more fear than that. I wanted to help solve that. I decided, so that nobody was targeted, that I would take care of it. I would be the target, and then I would get the help that I needed after from somebody who could deal with that, and make sure that this family, especially they had like 6 children, were safe. So initially they were posturing and stuff, and I saw this, and you'll hear me, I came over and I started saying to them, don't worry, I'll protect you. And what you're going to hear is the actual word protect that's going to come through. And
in this house, protect. In this house, protect.
Can you hear that? Did you hear that? Okay. Yeah, so it was in this house, they were saying in this house, and all of a sudden, here comes my voice saying protect. And within a matter of like less than a minute, the energy had cleared, and I was able to close the portal. they felt better, and then I got this message saying, what the hell just happened? So they knew that was my voice. They were like, you know, that's amazing. So then we went on, and this is where, when they were done with the investigation, this is now time for the research. And we don't have it to where it's like very fluent yet. We're working on that part where it's more consistent. But we, you can definitely hear, this one here, they were in one of the bedrooms, and they were sitting down, like on the bed and the furniture that was in the room, and I was in front. I did a soul projection from New York State to Memphis, to where they were, and I was like, hi Tanya, I'm here. You know, so I was like right in front of her, hi Tanya, I'm here, and this is what you're gonna hear. So that was kind of fun. She was like freaking out. And to show you a little bit of an idea, they put it all together. They were able to pick up from the video camera all of this coming over, not just the digital recorder. So this here is the sound from the actual camcorder. And you're going to hear them actually talking and what's coming through to them, and like what they're saying and what they're hearing. And then you'll hear me.
What's your name, Steven? Yeah, I heard Steven too.
Can you say one of our names again? Yeah. Did you hear that?
What did it say?
I swear it said hi, Tanya. Okay, I'm just making things up. I'm gonna stop now. I would. And it was female.
Yeah, I heard people say something.
So she sent me a text asking me exactly what it was that I had said. And we have a copy of that right here, and then you're going to hear her discuss it.
She said, I can see, but I cannot hear. I said in my mind, hi, Tanya, I'm here. She did.
We heard hi, Tanya.
And we all heard the hi, well, I heard the hi, Tanya. I said, what exactly did you say? Like sending it mentally. That voice sounds so clear, whatever that is. And I'm not joking, you guys don't ever know what that sounds like.
I don't know if there's anything more. Nope, that's it. So those are the ones that I have to present now. So like I said, eventually this is going to help. I know it's going to help with missing person cases, those who are taken, because you can draw a person to you, even in the living world. You can draw their soul to you just by thinking about them, just like you can somebody who you care about who's passed on. You know, when you think about them, you can draw them to you. So this is something that I've been working on for the last couple of years that I know is going to help. So eventually training law enforcement, eventually training law enforcement to be able to use this equipment, but I need to, without looking like I'm crazy, you know, for a while, need to build up more evidence and more proof that this is possible, that we can do this. So, is it foolproof? I hope so. I hope that we can prove it. Like I said, I have 4 different teams from around the world, 3 of them in the United States, 1 over in the UK, that work on this. And they can even, like, when I do a remote viewing or go in, and sometimes I go like this, I'll tap my forehead, and I'll do this. Sometimes I feel like it opens up my third eye a little bit more, helps me get a little bit more clarification. So I do this really funky thing, and like when I'm projecting out and everything. And in the UK, this team, they're awesome. They're so great. Literally can pick up my tapping, and not on the phone, not on Skype, not anything. This was a couple of years ago, and they're like, where did that tapping come from? Kept on hearing this tapping. And that's what got me first questioning, really, is it possible? So now they're on board with the project too, but it's like, they kept hearing this tapping. I'm like, well, what did it sound like? And they're like, you know, like somebody was tapping on a body part or something. I'm like, oh my God, that was me. I tap on my third eye and like project it out just to, you know, it's just something I've always done when I really get into it and want a little bit more clarification, whether it's working on unsolved cases or helping, you know, law enforcement. I'll close my eyes and I'll just tap on my forehead and send it out, try to tap into it a little bit more, I guess, I don't know, but it's kind of cool. So, you know, if you're on Facebook, follow the Transcendent Vibrational Communication page, and we're going to be having a lot more coming out. There is a website, but it's like free right now. So it's a Wix website, so it's got the Wix and everything else in it. So if you can link to it, it's easier to link to it through the Facebook page. And then you can hear and research like everything. There's like the reports are like right there, word for word. Their part of the report, then my part of the report, and then the evidence is like right there. So it's really cool. So like I said, I know it's going to save lives later on. If it saves just one life, I'll be very happy. You know, I mean, you can't keep having people being abducted, children or people, you know, there's those sex rings out there and, you know, child slavery and everything else. And it just breaks my heart that innocent people disappear, whether it be adults or children. And if we can tap into a resource that that we never thought we could, just to save, just like I said, one life, you know, this all it would take was just a couple of minutes to be able to save a life, then I'm all for it. So, what did you think of the what we call EVPs?
I thought it was pretty cool.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
But, I mean, it's a little far-fetched for me. I mean,
And it's going to be for a lot of people, believe me. That's why I
do you
have to.
actually know where you're going? I mean, I know that sounds stupid, but you know, it's like, how do you, I mean, granted you can channel, but do you actually know exactly where you're going?
I do. Yeah,
Do you see it?
I do. I see it. I see it. I see it.
You're just like out there.
It projects in my third eye. Yeah, no, I never go like not knowing, and I mean, I can project consciously or unconsciously. I can send myself out in a split second, you know, and go anywhere, but I can also unconsciously do it because I mean, we all do, and I can just carry on my normal day, and then I realize, oh, I'm out of body, and this is where I am, you know. But when I consciously do this research project, when I'm consciously making the effort to do this, I am seeing everything, because a lot of times I'm telling them, okay, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm seeing. You know, I'm over by the plasma ball now. I'm trying to activate the plasma ball. You know, and here I am. I'm by this. So they have all of that, so our times all coincide, and that's usually sent via like a text, and having somebody right there present to watch me and relaying back to the team, and they're going back and forth so that we have this documentation.
I have another question.
Go ahead.
Do you help law enforcement now?
I do.
Like, say Ithaca on cold cases or, you know, something to that?
If they ask, yes, I do work mostly with this one private investigator who's local, who found me. Yeah, there's been a lot of things. I had somebody in Canada contact me. It was 2 years ago, and they were missing. Their brother-in-law came up missing, and what he did is he had flown to this location to pick up his brand new motorcycle that he had just bought. Just came off the assembly line. He picked it up in California. He was driving back into Canada with his new motorcycle, and they lost contact with him. And in the process of losing contact with him, they got worried. She started panicking, and I told her, you know, this is what I'm seeing, and he's pointing, and this is the location, and there's a body of water nearby, and it's really sharp. He lost control, and he's not alive. So the law enforcement called me from up in Canada, and they asked for more detail, specific detail. I was able to give that, and they did find him 6 hours later in an area that I did describe that was on his route back. I mean, I actually like pulled up Google and looked and, you know, tried to figure out tracing. I'm like, there it is, there it is. So by the time they got everybody, the team together and got out there, it was 6 hours, and yeah, he was there, he was deceased. But it was interesting because I said, you're gonna see the reflection of the sun on the mirror. You know, he's actually in the trees off the road, and there's like a lake just on the other side of these trees. And you're going to be able to see, he's going to give you the signal via a little reflection off the mirror, one of the side mirrors, and that's how they found him. So yeah. Some of it's hard, you know, when you see stuff like that, some of it's really hard, but like through the years, you learn how to separate yourself from it. I think children are the hardest. There was one time, it had to be about maybe 20 years ago. About 20 years ago. I don't know if you know the story about Dryden with the two cheerleaders. I worked with one of the girls at the grocery store. She came up for her paycheck, and I looked into her eyes, and I saw this horrific whole thing of events. And I looked away, and it was the first time ever in my life I had ever seen a horrible premonition like that. And I can remember like driving home from work and going, like yelling at Spirit, what the hell? Why would you show me that? Why would you do that to me? Why would you do that, something that horrific to me? That's not true, that's not real. In less than 2 weeks it happened. And at that point I shut everything down. I said, I'm done. I could have saved their lives, I could have this, I could have that, if I had only said anything. Then what I looked like I would have walked away in a straitjacket, right? I could have lost my job. Even working with the school district, they all know who I am, they all know what I do, but I can't openly talk about it like around the kids or with the students there, or with the students. They have this fear, but I work with special needs children and they see it, they know it, so,
Bus driver. She's a retired bus driver.
I'm actually working on my CDL. I have my road test coming up. Yeah, I've decided I wanted to go for that. But, and then I work in the cafeteria in between at one of the elementary schools. But I saw that and I shut down my abilities for a good 8 years after that. And one day it was like a knock, 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 knock. It's like, what's up with this? And, it was spirit saying, that's it. You're done. You have a mission. You have a purpose here. And then I realized that we're not going to always see things that we, that are like going to be powder puff nice, you know what I mean? And then I also heard you can't save everyone. And I thought about that, and I'm like, you can't save everyone, you can't help everyone, you can't save everyone, you can't help everyone. And then I realized maybe I couldn't help them, but preparing me for helping those who are left behind, or helping those who are the victims once they're on the other side, to help heal them. And so now, no matter what I see, I embrace it. I'm thankful, I'm grateful, whether I like seeing it or hearing it or not. It was probably 5 years ago, I started the ability of tasting, and that was Vicks Vapor Rub. It was the nastiest thing, let me tell you. I was sitting there with a friend at the kitchen table, and all of a sudden I'm like, why am I tasting Vicks? I'm like, and they're like, Vicks? I'm like Vicks Vapor Rub, you shove it up your nose when you're sick, you rub it on your chest. Why am I tasting Vicks Vapor Rub? And I didn't have any in the house. I'm like, I was drinking coffee, and all of a sudden there's this taste of Vicks, and I was like, this is nasty. So being a smart aleck, posted online, I said, who is eating Vicks? Or close to eating Vicks? Who's sick? And I'm like joking, I'm like, because I'm tasting it. And my girlfriend, who is close to me, who lives out near Buffalo, wrote back, she goes, I'm sorry, I just plastered it on. And she goes, I sent you a message hoping that you would get it telepathically, that I was sick, could you send me some Reiki? But she goes, yeah, I shoved it up my nose and I have it all over my chest. I'm like, did you eat it? And she was like, no. I'm like, well, I think you've put enough on, don't you think? Because I'm tasting it, and it was nasty. So some of the things that they present to us with taste are not always nice either. So
is that why you're looking to channel, so because of the past, now you want to save?
No, it's not because of that. And maybe subconsciously, but I feel that I just have, my heart is for children, and I always feel like I'm a warrior, like a protector, and the need to help people. And I don't like the idea of people being hurt, or taken, or uncalled for deaths, because of somebody else's illness, and those who are left behind. And it just, one day it just came to me. So maybe I was supposed to experience that with Sarah and Jennifer. And I kept quiet for the longest time about that, because I was just like, that's it, I'm done. And my ex-husband, he didn't believe in any of that. He didn't believe in any of it. So I really had nobody to talk to back then about it. And it was really difficult. It was a really difficult experience for me all along. And finally, like I said, Spirit got through and let me know that you can't save everybody, you can't help everybody. It's not going to happen, but there are other ways. So it was rough. So maybe like I said, subconsciously, maybe like I said, that was like opening up that to later on down the road, present that to me to say, this is what you need to do. You need to try, at least try, But I've always been curious and adventurous, and I was born out in the country, so I mean, the Adirondacks, that was my playground, I didn't have all the fancy equipment and stuff, but the trees and the woods were my playground, and the ravines and all that, so is that cool? Do you have any more questions?
No, actually.
Do you ever just walk by somebody and go, hey, so-and-so happened to you, or somebody, the spirit's trying to get a hold of you or something?
Yes and no. Not everybody believes, and I've been confronted several times just being at regular, I went to a 4-H event one time in PA, and they're like, oh, come on down and set up, and angelic comfort, that's my business name, and I do the readings, and it's like, I'm Catholic. I was born and raised Catholic, so it's not that I don't believe. I don't do the work of the devil. I mean, I went through, everything that everybody goes through. I'm human, but I'm here to help people. And this is through my abilities, I'm able to help people. This is how I do this. And I literally had a woman come after me and yell at me and saying, at one event, that I was the devil, and you're just above the Bible Belt line, really, in PA. And she came after me and she says, "You Jesus hater," and she's yelling, and all these people are looking at me. And I can remember I put up my energy and I shielded myself, and she stopped, dead stop. And I looked at her and I said, "When you're ready to listen, I would like you to pay attention." I said, "Who says that I don't believe in God? Who says that I don't believe in a God or a higher source? What makes you think that? This is what I was born and raised. What makes you think, And it was okay. So to approach people on the street, you really have to be able to read them. Like a lot of people love Teresa Caputo, but it's TV, right? It's TV. So the people actually have to sign a waiver before she can go up and do that. So she doesn't just go up to them on the street. There's a team that goes up to the people on the street and says, "She's here, she wants to talk to you, she sees, do you believe, do you not believe? Sign this waiver." And then they disappear after the waiver's signed, and then it goes back, and then she steps in. So that's how it is with TV. Everything is scripted, even though it's real. It's really happening, she does, but you can't just like go up and approach people. I even had a friend one time who I saw an accident, and I saw it on like an icy bridge, and I saw the car going over, and it was horrible. So that was one, I'm like, God, she's a good friend. I don't know if she's going to be receptive to this though or not, but if I at least plant the seed, at least maybe she'll be careful, right? And she got mad at me. She got mad at me for calling her up and saying to her, "Look, I need you, this one particular bridge up home, not to do this. Please don't do this. I just need you to be cautious." She got so mad at me. "Why did you waste my time?" And I said, "I'm sorry that you feel that way." But she got really mad at me. She got really mad at me for doing that. And I was like, okay. And I hung up the phone and I said to my friend, "At least I planted the seed. So next time, every time she goes over that bridge, she is either consciously or subconsciously going to think of it, and she is going to be careful." And she said to me a couple of years ago that she almost lost control of her vehicle on that one bridge. And she's like, "Is it because you put it in my head?" I said, "No, it would have turned out this way had I not put that into your head." So, there's little things, but you can't just like walk up to people. They just don't, you might not get the warmest welcome. And I kind of like,
Probably think it would be pretty cool.
you would think that, but somebody who doesn't believe, you could get cold cocked, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, so what I mean, we live in such a diverse world where everybody can have their own thoughts and opinions, but you still have to be selective and careful, Oh my God. Oh. Okay, thank you.
Time's up.
My time is up.